Hey, welcome back to the Parrot Side podcast. Myself, Skills, 60 in the building.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on?
Man, like Rose.
Yo, guys, what's up?
But this guy in the building, come out.
What to do, baby?
So this is your first time listening to the Parrot Side podcast. Four of us went to the same primary school, Greenwood House School. If you know that school, now you know how we call it the Parrot Side podcast. We're here to, hang around and chill. What did we do back then, the Parrot Side? We just hung around and then we chilled. So we split the podcast up to 3 different sections. So obviously we have our Greenwood story, talk about current affairs, and then we get into our main issue of the day. Yeah? So our Greenwood story for today, we're talking talk shop stories, current affairs, Mason Greenwood. If you're on Twitter, you already know what's going on with that. Social issues, our main topic of today. The classic, we all know it, we all love it. Is body count important to know? So you might as well just get it done.
It's debatable whether we all love it, but
okay, facts.
We all definitely know it.
I agree with stories, talk shop. What we said? Come on, offer.
All right, man. Let's just get straight into this shit, man. I think in primary, it must have been primary 3 or primary 4. I don't actually remember which one. I used to steal money from my mom's bag.
Oh, boy.
Nah, I can't relate. Come on.
I'll go to my mom's bag. I get 200 naira and go to touch up to buy walkers. And then one day, we were going to a friend's birthday party. So instead of 200, I took like 1K now. I went to
God.
So we got to the place. So I gave everyone now. And then my brother came back and was like, yo, like, you ask my mom, how did this guy get money to buy walkers? My mom called me into the room. I was like, yo, how did you get money to buy walkers? And that's how it happened. And then the next day, my mom came to pick me up from school. And guess what this woman did? She literally took me to the talk shop after school and bought me walkers. I never spoke about it ever again. And I was like, mad.
Oh, shit.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool.
That's
cool.
Yeah.
For me, it was not the same case. So exactly what Kamal used to do. I used to do it. I used to take like 200 for my mom's bag.
But Rose, I'm surprised because you're always forming good guys. So you were still.
You're not surprised about me.
Yeah, relax, Jerry. My primary school level now.
Come on,
there was no morals when it came to that chocolate cake, fam. So,
that's facts. That's actual
facts.
That
chocolate cake was
it
fire.
was.
I don't even remember it too.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. The sausage roll kind of takes the cake for me.
Yeah, all the snacks.
Sausage roll. Yeah, fuck. All the snacks.
Yeah. The sausage roll was
the meat pie too. Oh God,
it was a different level.
Good stuff.
It's different when it's stolen as well, man.
As he, guys,
Different
one
when
day,
it's stolen.
I had been doing it too. I'd be taking like 200. One precious day in the car. Man said, let me up my game now. When I carry 500 now. When on the way to school, I carried 500 for Mom's bag. Unfortunately for me, she looks the mirror.
Oh, you're doing it in her presence.
Yeah. I was sitting.
A wild one.
She was driving. I was sitting in the back seat. She told me to get something for her bag. And I was just saying,
so she's.
Oh my God.
Organize this 5 each now. Buy that. I'll blow it on my guys. Guy, she just saw me from that mirror. Guy, she just slapped my hand like this. Started shouting. And one school bus was now beside our car. The children were not looking at me like.
They're not looking at oh shit. Fucked up in there, bro.
Yeah, like nah, like.
Bruh.
Good times.
But yeah, our talk shop was lit, man. All the snacks were fire. Damn. Yeah, that shit was fire, bro.
Yeah, I won't lie to you. There's a couple things that were just like unbelievably lit. Like the Jawbreaker. I'm sorry, like. Jawbreaker was like, and let's talk about the fact that like that talk shop thing was like, it was like, oh, the people who went to talk shop, it was like you're oppressing the people who didn't go.
Nah, this thing I wants to make it political.
No.
No,
That's
it's
facts.
true.
That's facts.
It's
No,
true.
but it's
That's
a
facts.
fact. It's a fact. Because even
It
the
People
is.
tell me
It
to
is
speak.
speaking facts.
before my parents ever gave me money, like I literally used to sit there like, damn, these kids with their jawbreakers and their sausage
Yeah.
rolls. I'm
The
like,
jawbreakers
damn.
did have me jealous. That's facts.
No, for
Yeah,
real. You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about? Like when niggas had jawbreakers. It was like niggas having like the wealth back then.
Well, surely it's not a good idea to have that in the talk shop because like the rich kids will just buy like 15. And, like this is too much sugar.
Yeah.
And, like,
That's
That's very
50.
true. That's very true. Like that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
but
man.
you know, it was all about, bro. You think the lady who worked there? You think she cares? She's like, anything to make her
I'm sorry,
money.
but that lady how old do you think she was?
She was quite young. I think her name was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she
was-
was youth, innit?
Oh,
Wait,
I don't remember.
Rose, how do you remember her name? Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't even know how I remember.
Wait, what was her name? What was her name?
I think her name was Jennifer.
What was her
Oh,
Instagram?
wow.
That sounds familiar.
Guys,
Just said what
yeah,
her
excuse me. What is this?
Wait, nah, chill. I just want to like see what
funny
she looks
joke
like
there
now.
is that
Guy,
Skills-
relax, I beg.
the funny joke there is that Skills assumes that Rose follows.
Facts.
Yeah, Rose follows everybody now.
Rose be knowing people. I don't know.
Nah, that's too funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man.
But shout out to all the guys that actually shared their jawbreakers. Like big shout out to them.
Facts.
See, them not lie, yeah. But first time I had jawbreakers, I was kind of disappointed because
I was very disappointed. That's facts.
Same.
Size.
Massive as well. Like I thought it would look like the way it looked on Ed and Eddie. And then
It looked crazy.
Guy, those things were fat, man.
God, who needs to hype that thing on that show, guy? The first time I saw it, I
Facts.
thought it would be something like that.
And the fact
is
that it
true.
was something we could relate to, as in it's in our school as well, and we're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was real. Shout out to Talk Shop, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
And
as
if
they
any-
called it, the school shop. I think that's what they called it.
Is that what they called it?
Yeah, school
What
shop.
name is that?
Wow.
Like,
Oh yeah, it was a school. Yeah, because they had all that stuff too. They had like books too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Books,
yeah.
writing
About that
materials.
I know them books did not sell. Like, believe me.
Yeah, like everybody would just enter the talk show and go straight to the front because that's where the snacks were. Where nobody was going to that backside.
Like, honestly.
No, but what I'm saying is that 'cause I remember she was young and she was light skinned. Do you know what I'm saying? But I remember
I
what
bet
she
you
looked
this
like.
guy, let's
Okay, fam. I'm just checking.
all right. This fucking
Alright,
guy. man.
cool. Obviously, shout out to Talk Shop. Our next move of the day, current affairs. The last couple of days, Twitter has been blowing up. Mason Greenwood. It's unfortunate that his last name is the same as Greenwood House School, but like,
Oh yeah, that's good.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Oh,
But yeah, nah,
Greenwood,
I don't know.
Yeah, so
Rose, what we saying? Rose, what we saying?
refresh us for the people that don't know what exactly happened with.
So
Rose,
yesterday,
Janos, what's going on?
Yesterday, the 30th of January. Yeah.
You guys be giving us date like it's a press briefing, bro.
No, it's good for context. So on 30th of January, like early hours of the day, Mason Greenwood ex-girlfriend posted like a couple of stuff on her Instagram. And like in one of the pictures, like she had a lot of blood down her mouth, and then she captioned the picture like this is what Greenwood has been doing, and followed by other like body marks where he has probably assaulted her. And then she finally posts a voice note of him pretty much trying to coerce her into having sex after claiming that he asked nicely and she wasn't forthcoming. So in the news now, we've heard that like Mason Greenwood has been apprehended. Yeah, I think he has been
Yeah, he got arrested. Yeah.
He's in custody right now. They even extended the custody time so that they can question him.
Oh, real.
Yeah. I mean, I think he more than tried to coerce her, didn't he? Like, the nigga literally said, I was going to have sex with her.
So, okay, so that's the P on ground. Okay, so come on. What do you think about it?
I mean, see, there's only one thing to think about this shit, man. I don't get why. I mean, okay, to a degree, I get why young footballers who are just used to getting their way would feel like they can just get away.
They're still mature, yeah.
Forget about being immature. It's like they get everything. They have so much money. Like, Greenwood is what, 19, 20? I'm not even sure how old exactly he is.
20, yeah.
Yeah, but this guy has been getting how much money for so long? Like, it just feels like, who are you to tell me no? Like, even though he's his girlfriend, he's been in for how many years? He just can't fathom in his mind that somebody can not want to have sex with him. And it's like, bro, but realistically speaking, right, you're Mason Greenwood. This guy could literally go out in the streets of Manchester and find someone willingly to do with him. Like, he did not need to force his girlfriend to have sex with him. By the end of the day, when it's in you, it's in you. And this nigga just feels like he's just one of those guys that just doesn't like taking no for an answer. And that being said, this shit is not that uncommon, right? Like, obviously, this is on a higher scale because we're seeing it on social media with Mason Greenwood and who he is. But I can tell you that in people's personal lives, people that I know, and not just girls, by the way, guys as well, this shit has happened to them where either they try and guilt you into doing shit or they try and manipulate you into doing things. Like, this shit is not uncommon. And I'm sure anyone listening to this will likely have either heard or been in a similar scenario before. But at least now that it's on a bigger scale and it's magnified, people can understand that it's not okay to do things like this at all, man.
Allow me to play devil's advocate for a second. Now, hold on. Now, let me preface it with two things. One, I know in this day and age, when it comes to issues like this, if I see me play devil's advocate, they'll be like, oh, no, that means you're also an abuser. Relax.
Stop the cap.
Hold up, let me land. We're having a conversation, right? That's what this podcast is about. We say we go raw, right? We go raw, right? We go raw. All right. That's one. So let me say that. Then two, now I'll be honest. I guess now it makes sense. Maybe the guy has anger issues. Cause I'll be honest, after seeing this guy play, this guy can see a shot. I'm like, this guy shoots, man. So now we know that this nigga has been kicking at home. I'm sorry. Relax. Let me land. Now, this is the thing, right? I've heard the voice notes, that the one that she posted, yeah. I've never heard Mason Greenwood speak in my life. So I'm going to assume it's him. Abi, let's go with that. But my thing is like, two questions. Is like, one, I feel like, is there a reason maybe you would say she did not come out like earlier? Because Mason Greenwood was an international footballer, right? So whenever he comes out, he's going to be fucked regardless. So my thing is, once you have this, you're obviously uncomfortable, you're obviously going home every day scared. It's like, why not expose him as soon as practical, if you can give him
skills. So
I think that's two questions now. What's the second one? Let him land.
Wait, no, we can answer this one first.
Okay.
Yeah, Rose.
First of all, there's substantial evidence that Greenwood did these things. And you look at apps like Twitter. We're all on Twitter now. We scroll through. And even aside from this Greenwood situation, we've seen people bring out concrete evidence that they were abused by certain people. And then
would you say this evidence is concrete, like 100% like sealed?
Well, it looks convincing enough.
Okay.
And Kamal, you're a law student. In courts of law, they said that the evidence must be beyond reasonable doubt. So, like, you look at everything and, like, it's more than convincing and all of that. And, like I was saying, we see so many people have called out their abusers. And you still see people defending those abusers. Even with pure evidence. So, like, in this Greenwood case, definitely, if she had come out at the point, there will be people that obviously come and say, it's not true, this baby wants to... Assuming she didn't come
saying
out
that now anyways,
Yeah, definitely. There are still people saying that. Well, like, it doesn't make sense, pretty much, because if she had come out earlier, let's say she didn't have any evidence, there will be people that say it's a lie, that you are just trying to ruin his career and everything. They start victim blaming. And imagine what that would do to her, like mentally. She's being abused physically, and then in addition to this, she's now going to be abused like mentally and all. And these are the kind of things that drive people into depression, and furthermore, they could even commit suicide.
I feel okay. Let me address that, and let me tell you my second question. I guess my second point too, because my thing is, so I've listened to the voice again. Don't get me wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I mean, I listened to the voice notes, and towards the end of the voice note, right, you can hear him saying, "Get off me." That's the one part of it. The second part of it is because I think we can somewhat agree. I'm not saying she did what she could, and I is respect for that. The almost 100% sealed evidence is like there's video, right? Because I've been on Snapchat this one time. I'm scrolling through Snapchat, and I'm not going to mention any names, but like one guy that I knew, I think he was abusing his babe. So I'm scrolling through his Snapchat. She's actually collected his phone, Snapchatted him, like, okay, look at what he's doing to me. Snapchatted her injuries. And obviously the snap was only there for like 5 minutes, but I caught it. So that one, that's irrefutable proof. Like, you get me? His video is his face. He's like trying to grab the phone. He's like, you get me? So I feel like I'm not saying putting her facts down or anything, but like the strongest piece of evidence would have been video, right? Because that last part where he's like, get off me, somebody else in court now gonna say, okay, well, we can't see what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying?
Skills, to be honest, like I actually don't agree with you, Sha. Because you're saying video. Like, guy, like all of these things.
I'm not saying she should have recorded. I don't know what kind of situation she was in. Yeah.
Well, like, see, when you say something like that, it feels like you are trying to. It feels like you are.
But that's why I prefaced it. I said I'm not trying to victim. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just playing the flip side.
I get, but like. Basically, when you look at the point, it does look like you are trying to still point fingers and like, why didn't she take a video now and everything? Like, that's not the main issue now. She's being abused. It's not until when she's dead now that say,
no, of course. That's why I said my first point of like, oh my god, why didn't she come out sooner? Yeah, that's why that was like my first thing.
And I think Skills is coming at it from like literally like, okay, if we're going to base this on evidence that we see,
like on a court of law type,
like not because no, don't get me wrong. In most cases, in fact, 90% of cases, the guy is the abuser and the whole thing is always messed up. But it's like sometimes you have to look at it without emotions and just be like, oh, like you have to look at it like the legal system.
Exactly, that's the vibe I'm trying to come with. The
legal system, they're not going to care about. You know how many like rapists get exonerated every year? Like they're not going to care about a certain thing. So like. I see where it's coming from. The thing I would say is like, personally, right, with that case, I think that there is sufficient evidence, and I think that a case to be made against what Skills is saying, right? Okay, yes, it's a good point. Why didn't she record? If he had seen that she was recording, like he might have.
It might have been worse. Yeah. I'm not saying exactly. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she should have recorded.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know you're just playing devil's advocate, and that's why I was saying. So someone can then counter that point with like, okay, well, if he saw her recording, he would have just made her delete it, and we wouldn't have any evidence in the first place. And like, so it's like at the end of the day, the slickest what she did, because if you use voice memos, which was what I saw, right? Voice memos on your iPhone, you can minimize it and just lock your phone, and your phone is just recording like. And the person won't notice, like you just drop your phone.
Same.
So essentially, that's why it's like really that was the smartest way for her to do that. But like in general, I think that in terms when it comes to like, do we have enough evidence? I think there's enough evidence.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a huge evidence. To be fair, like that's a lot. That's a lot.
And I think there's just this thing with like in general and. I think someone had asked about it, like, oh, he's a football player, he can go out and like. I think these guys, they like the power gets to them because, like, wealth is a big thing, but with their status, it also comes like their power and how they feel like they're more powerful than the average person, like in terms of I can get any girl I want.
And he's pretty young too.
Yeah, exactly. And they probably try and like shoot their shot at multiple girls, and let's say 90% of the time they get what they want, right? So the one time where the person like pushing back, they're like, oh no, like something is wrong. So I think like these guys, like they need to really like, I don't know, they need to really look within themselves and be like, yo, like, is this thing really getting to my head? Because I feel like that's the biggest issue here. Like you see it with musicians as well. Like
yeah, I think to take even further, like from the first question Skills asked, so her dad came out, I think either this morning or yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was saying that she got hacked. Like she didn't want these videos. Yeah. But that literally.
Man said
Mason
Even if she did get hacked though, but the pictures are still there. So it's obviously
possible, but who knows? Yeah, but I think it just kind of shows that maybe she didn't report it initially because she said ex-girlfriend. I don't know if it's actually ex or if they're still together or not, but maybe there's still something there, or maybe they were trying to work it behind closed doors or whatever. But for whatever reason, I guess she didn't want to post it out there, which is why her dad came out and defended him. And then in terms of like the evidence thing, like the bruises on its own is definitely not enough because that could have come from anywhere, right? I think everyone, from a legal standpoint, I think anyone would know that. But then it depends on how you phrase the case as well. Like if you're trying to say the bruises came from him forcing her to have sex with him, and then this is the video recording of him forcing her to put her legs up and saying he's gonna fuck her, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. Then it gets a bit harder for Greenwood to then allegedly, anyway, to overcome the whole thing. But the video in itself is like verbal coercion, isn't it? There isn't what do you call? There isn't like a physical act being done on the video. Like it's more verbal abuse. Right, that could be interpreted as physical abuse. So really, it depends on the lawyers, man, and how they try and phrase the whole thing.
Yeah,
but I mean, he doesn't go to prison for this anyway. I think, but we'll see.
You know, it's definitely. I see what you're saying with his verbal abuse, but if we isolate what he was saying, was like, I don't care if you don't want it. Like you could tell clearly what the voice memo was, right? So I feel like. It, like you said, it's actually a very good point because that's like one lawyer is going to argue one way and another one will argue like
another way.
Like, you know, like especially when trying to defend him, they can definitely make a case like, oh well, this is just a recording. You don't know the context and everything, and like exactly. And when it comes to like the whole idea of like why didn't she report it earlier, I think that there's something to be said when it comes to like gathering evidence, especially in cases like, because you have too little evidence and people don't believe you. So I feel like there also has to be that angle of like, for me, if someone is abusing me, right, and like beating me up, whatever, I'll make sure that I gather like enough evidence where it's like what you guys said earlier, beyond reasonable doubt. Like, okay, we know that this is 100%. Because like, if she just showed, for example, I think if you isolate just the pictures, if like Kamal just said, if you just showed the pictures, like that probably wouldn't even be enough. Like,
definitely wouldn't.
Say like I'm bruised.
But there's still a negative side to that, is because like if you're trying to gather evidence, that means you're still leaving yourself for more beatings you get just so you can get that evidence. That's where I'm now like
your life at risk.
Okay,
exactly.
I see what you mean.
So 60, I get your point, and that's where I'm just like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't really feel that.
I know
I'm
what
just like,
you mean.
Exactly.
Technically, it's not wise to like when you have an abuser, you want to avoid them. But then on the
but that's what Rose said earlier too, is because you have to do not start calling out a lawyer. You're just trying to ruin his career.
Exactly, trying to
need that evidence.
And like you know the whole idea of Stockholm syndrome. Like some people, they keep going back to their abusers and they keep like. Because sometimes it's deeper than just the beating. Sometimes it's like serious manipulation where like the guy can even think about it, right? From his perspective, he'll be like, oh, yeah, if you want to leave. Like, you're never going to get anyone who is spending money on you like me, this, that. Like,
that's the thing, right? You don't know her background.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool. That was deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I mean, our last issue of the day, main issue, is body count important to know?
This is such a 180, but
60, start us off. What we said.
Let's go.
I actually want one of you guys to go first because like I'm gonna just counter you guys and I'm going to destroy everyone here. So let's just go.
Let's start with Rose then. Rose. Let Rose.
Why you guys want to start?
I'm joking.
Rose, go, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, Rose, go.
Okay, so personally, I think I'm going to sit on the fence on this one because I don't know. I just feel like, man, yeah, a lot of people have done stuff in the past, maybe had sex, had multiple partners, I know, but like people change. People always change. Okay. So I feel like
that's debatable.
Yeah. See, just listen first.
Okay,
assuming like there are certain things that we did or that we still do, and like before we were chosen for something, like people were always holding those things out against us and not giving us a chance to change. It's not just sex, like other things too. It could be certain like character traits and all of that. And like people didn't, let's say like, okay, you've struggled with something in a while or in the past, and like over time, like you've actually gained control and said, okay, yeah, like I actually want to change and have like something different for myself. So I feel like that's why I wouldn't really say, but at the same time, man, you just have to be careful, Sha, because
okay, Rose, let's do it like this. Since you're sitting on the fence, it means you're not taking one side or the other. Now,
I think it's good to do case by case basis. Yeah,
argue for it and argue against it. Like, why do you think it's important, and why do you think it's not important to know?
Why I think is okay to know. Well, I think quantity too is quantity matters to an extent, because first of all, you don't know what such person might be carrying. I know.
You can get tested for that though.
Yeah, definitely. And aside from that,
you could know.
I know this might sound I don't know whether that sounds weird or awkward, but then I'm to be honest, I'm kind of superstitious about certain things, like all these jazz rituals and all of that.
This guy doesn't want his thing to disappear, fam.
No, like fam, we've been seeing stories, I know, and you don't know who is who and what their intentions are and all of that. So like that's one of the reasons why, like, at the same time, I'm just like,
I feel you.
Man like Rose.
Man like Rose, you know. So you know the thing though. Okay, so
I'm bleeping out that last part. You can't bring your political views in here.
This guy is not serious.
Oh, facts. So okay, so the main topic is body count important to know, right? So is the one hand of, the body count thing, like, should you have too many, should you have too little, whatever. And the other part is, should you know? So if you're getting into a serious relationship, should you know what your partner's body count is? Yeah, so that's like
a good point. So essentially, it's two parts. So it's basically like, does the number matter, and
should you know?
Like the person disclosing it to you, does that matter as well? Okay. I see.
So for me, I feel like if I'm getting into any sort of serious relationship, like, I would want to know. You know what I mean? And again, they're still connected. I would want to know because I would prefer it to be low. And that's the thing. The only reason is
define low. Define low. What's low?
Yeah, define low, bro.
Is it 10? Is it 35? Is it
less than 0.5?
It definitely ain't 25, no. You mean 1? Less than 0.5. So you mean 0.
No, I mean less than 0.5. Take that how you want. Now listen, hold up.
No, wait.
Now, to be fair, I think it really depends on the person. But like, realistically, for me personally, anything like 4 5s, I beg anything less than 2. In fact, 1. In fact, Obviously, I haven't decided. Like I said, it depends on the person. But this is the point I'm getting at. It's like you should know, and the reason is even a thing today is because we're moving towards that era of like where women want to be more promiscuous. But then now it's body count important to know. They're not asking because if I feel like they don't want to say it because they feel like if they say it, men will start looking at them like, oh, okay, they're less. Yeah, I mean, because they've slept with so many people. Now my thing is this: if me personally, I have a low body count, I don't want to have a babe that her body count is like it's. Do you know what I'm saying? So like for me, I would prefer we can match on that vibe, whatever the number is. If my own is high, then her own can be high. That's fine. But the problem is, guys today with excessively high body counts, they still want serious relationship with babes with low body count, and I'm like, do you know what? That's selfish. That's selfish.
That's very true. That's
So I think it depends. I would like to know. I don't want to then fall in love with a babe if I ever do. And like I didn't find out, and then like, it's 103 and a half. I'll be like, yo, I'll be disappointed. So I don't want to have that shattering effect of like, oh, that's fucked. So I don't know.
Okay.
But you also let me just land with this. But you also can't know from the start because you can't just go on the first date like, oh, babe, what's your body count? And
obviously, I just go on
straight. It would have to be a gradual thing for sure. I mean, okay. Are you done, Skills?
Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay. Kamal, do you want to go?
All right. See, listen, the basic truth is, for the most part, you'll never really know. So, like, when you say you want to know, of course you'd want to know. But like you said, you're not going to go on a first date and start asking somebody what's your body count. And chances are, by the time you get to the point where you'd even be comfortable asking that kind of question, she already knows if body count is something that's important to you or not.
So do you feel like she wouldn't tell you the right number?
She wouldn't tell you the right one. Like if she knows it's important to you to have a low body count, she'd probably make up something like 3 or 4, like something safe, but something that is not too crazy. Whereas if she knows you don't really care, then maybe she may be honest with you, but chances are she still won't be. She maybe say like 7, like because I know people that in this kind of situations and they never tell the truth, man. And like on a personal level, obviously, if you live your life a certain way, like most of us are religious to a certain degree anyway. So obviously you're gonna acquiesce to certain religious values, and in which case body count would be important to us because that's what the religion says. So you try to follow as the best as you can, and sometimes you fail, sometimes you don't. But like for those kind of people, obviously body count is important. And then for the other side of people who maybe don't place as much value on sex as maybe religious people do, they probably wouldn't give a shit what your body count is because chances are theirs is just as high as yours anyway. And if sex doesn't value you in any way, because obviously from a religious perspective, having sex before marriage kind of devalues a person, both men and women, because the religion says you shouldn't do that. And I don't know about you guys, but Islam anyway, like there's a lot of steps to take if you've had sex before marriage, especially if you're marrying the person you had sex with before you got married. There's a lot of forgiveness and stuff you have to ask for before you actually go on with the marriage. So it definitely devalues a relationship a lot. Whereas if you're not religious as much and you don't put that much value on sex, I don't think you would really care what the body count.
Care like that, yeah.
So that's kind of my basic thing on it.
Okay, well, yeah. So my opinion, I definitely was actually surprised to hear Kamal bring that point out first. But that's the biggest thing that I've always said is that body count is irrelevant because, like, we can all lie, right? Like, everyone can lie
facts.
about it.
That's facts, though.
There's even the joke that a lot of my friends that I know, like, online, that are not virgins, they'll be like, oh, I'm in the heavenly place. I'm saving myself. This, that, like, virgins, all virgins, this or something like that. So I think, like, in general, the reason why I say it, I'll say, okay, I say it doesn't matter, but I think that's just like my general stance. But I think there are only certain cases where it would matter, right? And I think that it doesn't matter because, like, really, you're never going to know. But the cases where I think that it's important is proximity, right? If the person is in your community, like, let's say it's a university campus, and this is something that university campus people who are in unis deal with all the time, is that if you're dating someone on your campus, right, you're generally going to be seeing, potentially, if this person is not a virgin, you're going to be seeing or coming into contact with people that this person has been with, right?
And guy, I
Yeah.
can't stand that. I can't stand that, man.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And that's even brings another conversation, which is, and I want to know you guys' opinion on this. A lot of people with their partners, they'll be like, okay, your body count. Now, they've gone past that point of like, what's your body count? They've answered the question. They'll ask, let me know every single person you slept with. As in, like, let me know their names, as in check their IG, whatever it is. Like, because I know on university campus, people used to do this. Like, they'll be like, oh, let me know. Like, I had a friend who is his girl, like, was like, oh, yeah, you have to tell me every single person, because essentially to them, it's like, and I understand it. That's why I say it might matter in that situation where it's like in your community, because it's like, oh, if you're going around and like, there's certain people, especially if it's your friend, because I think that's the biggest thing, right? I think that's one of the most important things. The person is not a real friend if they see this and they didn't tell you beforehand, because like, oh, like you guys, you're all my guys. Like, if I ever had something with someone and like, first of all, I would tell you guys, right? But then it's like, it goes to the point where even if I didn't, if no one knew about it and I see one of you guys, oh, I'm about to shoot my shot at this person or whatever, I'll be like, yo, bro, by the way, as a good friend, just to let you know.
By the way, I smashed.
I'm crying. No, but yeah, literally, like, you'd want to let them know. So, like, I think that's a case where it matters. Another case where it matters is, hey, man, I'm trying to be safe. Like, although people joke, like, really, man, heavenly race is a real thing. Like, as in, I'm trying to be alive, bro. Like, STDs are a real thing. And
fuck some.
On top of knowing your body count, what's even more important is, please, can you get tested so we can see? Because, man, people are spreading all sorts of stuff.
You have to go on that,
yeah, exactly. So I think those two things are like very important. But overall, I think in general, us as guys, we kind of over like what would I say? Like, we overdo like the whole idea of like dwelling on that, because let's unpack this too. A lot of guys lie about their body counts the same way a lot of women lie.
Facts, yeah.
You know, like, okay, maybe a woman, because of social stigma and everything, women may lie down, but men lie up. Like, oh, I smashed 6,000 babes or something like that. So
that's facts. That's facts.
I think generally, like, it like, that's why I think it doesn't matter. But like, I want to hear you guys' opinions. Like, if you had a partner, right, would you, well, or let's say your partner even asked you, tell me everyone, assuming that you guys have been with, let's say, 10 people, right? If your partner said, tell me each person, what would be your reaction?
Like, I should list them, like their names or son names. Like, why
would like you should list them? Yeah, because no, I'm telling you, bro. Some people.
No, I know, because they want to like look on Instagram and like look at them. Yeah, like
exactly.
I know. I'll just be like, that's weird. Like, you're doing too much. Like, that's weird, fam.
And you know, it's because they want to, like, because okay, now that you've told them, if they see you guys, like an interaction between you guys online,
exactly, they may not start thinking like, too much.
Yeah, that's possible too.
But since you said no, like, you wouldn't.
Yeah, that would be too much. Yeah.
Like, I personally wouldn't care, to be honest. Like, if you want to know, I could tell you. Because I feel like,
it also depends. I think it depends on the girl too. I think that's the main thing. Like, if it's a girl that like she's not asking on like an interrogating way, she just wants to like, no, so that blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, sure. We go to.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, there's some people that generally they just want to exchange stories. Like,
yeah,
okay, I did this, and they also want to know what you've done or who you've been with. It's just like it's just an exchange of info. It's not really like an interrogation. Like, I'm gonna hunt her down.
Exactly.
So, and obviously, the proximity is there. You may also want to know just to avoid awkward situations and shit. So
yeah,
and like, so, like it's like 60 said, people don't want to be with someone that is their friend and their friend has already smashed, and then like it's weird. So there's situations people want to avoid. But for Rose, because I know Rose is very strong about this thing. If you met someone now, like we said, you're not gonna ask her body count on the first day. Let's say you met her in church or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason, you just assume she's clean, like she's never been with anybody. And this babe is perfect. Like she has everything you've been looking for so long. And then, let's say 2-3 months in, when you finally have
Please,
this
come
kind of
out,
topic,
come out. Sorry, before you continue, let's not use the word clean, before the sexually liberated people will come for us. You have a low body
you know what
count.
I mean? It's clean in the
If your
context
body,
of you
no,
haven't,
I
you haven't
know, I
been
know.
with
It's
I'm
not.
just,
It's not clean. It's low
just for
body
the,
count. It's
it's
not.
just for the
You can't
listeners, man.
interchange them.
Okay.
Before they come
She's
and
never been with
cancel us.
anybody. Yeah, and then 2-3 months down the line, you actually find out she's been with like 3-4 people. But every other thing about her is pristine. Or would you not back out of your potential relationship because you just suddenly find out she's been with 3-4 people?
First of all, no sex, guys. I still stand by
Yo,
that.
relax.
And second of all, like, come on,
60 flip
just
down.
like I said the first time, like
Uh-huh.
people change and all of that. So I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to hold her back, or I'm not going to let her hold us back because she done that.
You're not 0.5 like skills.
Nah, like this is the present and this is now. Like those things happened in the past and everything. So
Skills, would you back out?
I mean, that's what I was going to say. I was going to actually, I'll be honest, I'll probably agree with Rose. Like, you know, I say my piece and I joke around, but like, if I'm really feeling a babe and she's feeling me, I'm like, it's fine. Like, let's just move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree
exactly.
with that too.
But
here's my thing though. But wait,
yeah,
but let me
ahead,
add on to that though. However, I don't want to encounter any potential clues of your past. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't want to be walking down the street and like one of the dudes she has smashed before, he's like laughing at me like, oh, I had my thing all up in her ear. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's not have any of that.
Bro, I saw this thing on Twitter last week. Then this guy said he was on a date with this girl, and then her ex came to the table and was like, "Oh, don't fret, I'm not smashing no more." And then paid for the dinner and left.
And she smiled.
Why? Wait, she smiled.
She smiled, fam.
Oh, nice. Over. It's over. So we're done. We're done right there.
I think, I don't know. Like, okay, you said, Kamal, you said 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. First of all, depending on who you ask, that 3 or 4 may be 30 or
and a half.
or 300, depending on who you ask.
300.
I mean, see me, I won't do 30. I'll be honest with you. Like, no matter how perfect you are, man.
Oh, come on, you have a limit.
I won't do 30. I'm sorry.
I don't want to say a number before people that have crazy body counts get.
I don't give a fuck what your number is.
There would be a certain point for
30.
me that I'll be like, I wouldn't like. The thing is, what I truly know is that, like, if the person did tell me, there'll also be some sort of like, I'll even have some sort of respect for the person. Like, damn, you really told me? Damn, you could have lied. Like, damn, nigga. Like, but still, yeah, no, I know what you guys are saying. I don't really know, man. Like, this body count piece is it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's just the era we live in, I guess.
Yeah, for real.
I do think people overdo this thing sometimes, though. I'll be honest with you.
Facts.
Like, our generation is already, like, it's kind of in the toilets already when it comes to this shit. Like, we're all trying to form religious, but at the end of the day, like, most people have either fallen off the bandwagon at some point and are just getting back, or are yet to even fall off. Like, not many people actually stay stable all the way through marriage. Like, I'm sure the percentage is very low.
It's excess. No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people have many missteps, man. So,
but the thing with that too is because religion, actually, the religion is a whole other. That's on that podcast episode. So yeah.
There's so many things religion says you shouldn't do, right? And people do it, but for some reason we hold this to such a much higher standard than all the other things that people do. Like, there's so, in fact, there's so, like I said, this falls into so many other topics. So let's just leave religion out of this for now. But yeah, summary. It matters to some, it doesn't matter to some, and for the most part, you probably wouldn't know anyway. So just live life.
So you just have to be safe out there and hope that the person you're talking to is being honest with you. And that's really the best you can do. What was I gonna say? There's another topic that I would want us to unpack later in another episode. Someone, just to give you guys a preview, someone said, I paid for your flight to come and you guys might have seen this. I paid for your flight to come and visit me in Toronto all the way from Lagos. You just got to my house and not up to 1 hour, you're texting your friends in Toronto to tell them you are around. And then the guy said, "Are you okay?" And then the entire Twitter dragged him because it was like they were saying he's entitled. Now, this guy then went on to say, and I actually know someone that knows this guy. And he went on to say that basically he paid for a first class ticket. It was $5,000 from Lagos to Canada, and then they had known each other for like a couple weeks before that or something like that, and then it was one of those things. So it's definitely something because people were dragging him like, how can you be so entitled? And then some people were like, oh, she can't, like, she would need to text her friends to let them know so she's safe. So I think that would be a good one for us to discuss. It's like a preview. That'll be like a short thing we can kind of debate about because there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, no fear. They can definitely do that, man.
For sure. But
But that's very much it. Rose, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I did hate, man. That's my own final thought. I want to go chop beans.
Alright, cool. Sick.
Man said beans. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, 11 o'clock, bro.
Oh.
Alright, cool. Sick then. So thanks for tuning in. Obviously, this has been the Parrot Side podcast. Find us on all platforms. And as usual, don't send us no feedback, bro.
Yeah, we don't care about your feedback.
Well,
and
no
also,
fuck. Sick.
Rose, I'm bleeping out all your political. No matter how many times you're not going to push this. You're not going to push this agenda, bro. But it feels good.
You're so political, bro.
Thanks for tuning in. Find us on the next episode. Peace out. Don't send us no feedback. Peace.
All right.